Almost 4 centuries ago, Sinbad the sailor spotted the archipelago of Comoro from the deck of his ship. He nicknamed it Jazair al-Qamar, Islands of the Moon. Over time, Qamar was transformed to Comoro. Located in the famous Canal of Mozambique, the archipelago stretches between the oriental African coast and the island of Madagascar. For centuries now, Comorian sailors have used little Arab boats called boutres to navigate the waves of the Red Sea. These 4 islands of the Indian Ocean are enchanting to see, but are equally seductive to smell. Cloves, nutmeg, ylang-ylang and vanilla travel from island to island before being exported throughout the world. The numerous spice plantations have won Comoro the nickname of the perfumed archipelago. The island of Anjouan, with its Ylang-Ylang cultivation, is the best example. These yellow flowers in the form of stars have a smooth, mellow odor and are one of the archipelago's most precious treasures. The Comoros supply 80% of the world demand in Ylang-Ylang. Grown in the shadow of the palm trees that surround the villages, mature Ylang-Ylang is harvested by hand for distillation. The essential oil extracted is destined exclusively for export. It's used in the composition of a large variety of perfumes. Arab sailboats loaded with scent stop at Anjouan to fill up on Ylang-Ylang extract. Not far from the plantations, a number of old distilleries continue to function. The local women bring in flowers they've collected by hand. Once gathered and counted, the flowers are distilled using a simple traditional method in a still that allows the oil to be extracted. More than 150 kilograms of flowers are needed to fill up a copper cauldron. Pipes pump in water which, once heated, produce steam in a manner similar to a pressure cooker. At the end of 4 hours of distillation, a half-litre of quality essence at 65 degrees will remain. This extract is bottled and then sold to the Benoît company in Anjouan. The subtle and refined vapors of Ylang-Ylang waft over the surrounding villages and palm trees. The entire island is covered in a deliciously light fragrance. Benoît, a small village near Anjouan, is home to the archipelago's largest plant distillery. A relic of French colonialism, the Benoît company continues to produce a variety of essences. These stills, full of basil, will produce several litres of oil that will be used either in pharmacopoeia or in the production of perfume. From generation to generation, the distillation methods are passed down in traditional fashion. It's important that the distillery continue to uphold its prestigious international reputation.
My name is Ahmed Ali, and I've been working here at the distillery for the past 15 years. Ever since my father left, he worked here for 50 years. And I took his place. Here we distill perfume plants. Ylang, imported cloves and basil. Before that, we distilled tuberose, patchouli, orange flower, and we also did vanilla, lots of vanilla. All of these products come to Bamboa by boat. Sailboats arrive from other islands like Mayotte, Madagascar, Grand Comoro, Mohéli. They leave here with sisal, ylang, basil, everything that we distill here. The essences are sent by boat to Grand Comoro, and from there they go to Grasse in France to make perfume.
Piled high with plant extracts, the Arab boats leave for Moroni in Grand Comore. If the breezes are steady, they will reach the island in 3 or 4 days. The sailors then head for Madagascar with a cargo full of sisal, a natural fiber similar to the one used to make cords for boats. This navigational method is close to extinction. In reality, there are only 4 authentic Arab boot sailboats left in Comoro, direct descendants of the famous boot of Oman. Nowadays, these boats are slowly being replaced by motorboats, better adapted to navigating the open seas. Nicknamed the Red Island for the colour of its land, Madagascar has long been a favourite French colony. Its history began in the year 1000, when the first immigrants arrived by way of the African Sea and from Indonesia. Despite initial physical and linguistic differences, a unique and united Malagasy culture was created. The population now numbers 12 million, with 20 different ethnic groups. Madagascar also possesses a rich maritime tradition, the cradle of which is located in Belo-sur-Mer, a little port town on the west coast that houses one of the largest boat construction sites. Here, the boats are called coastal schooners because they only circulate along the length of the Madagascar coastline. Belo-sur-Mer has another particular attribute. It is the only place where one can find salt marshes. These marshes supply salt to the whole country, as well as to Comoro, which has none of its own. The schooners leave Majunga, the principal port of Madagascar, and descend the coastline to get salt from Belle-sur-Mer. This salt marsh is spread out over many acres of land, of which its owner and manager only cultivates 175, producing 7,000 tons of salt annually. He employs close to 300 people, and all the work is still done in the traditional manner by hand. Solely reliant on the winds, the schooner can't guarantee any specific delivery date. Depending on wind speed, this trip could take anywhere from several days to several weeks. Sometimes the sailors even stop and wait for the wind to change direction. But unlike most Occidental countries, the people here are not in a hurry.
Varian sokwa rati. Go. Rati varian swatche.
Madagascar is a large island approximately twice the size of France. This 40-ton sailboat will travel for several weeks to reach its destination. The average cargo for an Arab sailboat is 70 tons, although the largest can stock up to 150 tons. They have anywhere from 6 to 11 sails each. It's difficult to maneuver these boats. It takes a team of 7 experienced and competent men.
My name is Pasteur. I'm a marine carpenter, and I build and command schooners. I just turned 72. I've started to build schooners in 1944. Since then, I've worked on the construction of more than 20. For me, the work is an ongoing family tradition. Schooners are entirely made out of wood, because there's no real road from the forest just south of Belo-on-the-Sea. The wood is therefore transported by canoe. The carpenters use only basic tools. All the wood blocks are cut by machete and then pegged. Building a schooner can take anywhere from 8 to 24 months, depending on the weight and the amount of raw materials available.
This 150-ton schooner is going to transport salt throughout the Comoro archipelago. The different groups of people who have become the basis of the Malagasy population all arrived from other continents by boat. It wasn't until the 19th century and Ramadan II's ascension to the throne that maritime tradition took a big turn. The king, on friendly terms with the French, officially received a marine carpenter named Joachim, who had fled the massacres of the French Revolution. Joachim created the first carpentry school in the 1800s, and with it, the coastal schooner that slowly began to replace the boutre. Napoleon even asked Joachim to create a schooner for his fleet. Baptized in the name of the city of Morondave, the boat was used in the famous Battle of Trafalgar. One of the main activities of Majunga is the braiding of sisal, which is used to make cords for boats. The sisal arrives by boat from the Comoro. Majunga is a port town renowned for its product traffic: cocoa, coffee and salt. It's an important commercial centre, the turnover point for all merchandise from the island and from the Comoro. This west coast port was officially decreed the port capital of Madagascar in the 18th century by King Saklava. The schooners had almost disappeared altogether, with only 15 remaining, when they were saved by the regional deputy Roland Cool. Thanks to an important sugar contract, Roland Cool was able to relaunch schooner activity. Nowadays, 60 or so schooners navigate the west coast of the island. Often, the Malagasy refer to the schooners as boutres in memory of the Arab boats that were originally used. This boat, specialized in the transport of vanilla, is going to Nosy Bay, 300 kilometers north of Majunga, to load its cargo. Vanilla is one of the most important products of Madagascar. This little green liane, part of the orchid family, climbs the length of wooden stakes. As soon as its flowers, which are called pods, are harvested, they're boiled. Imported to Mexico a century ago, vanilla was not initially able to adapt itself to this Indian Ocean island because the insect that pollinates the plant was absent. It was Edmund Albius, a former slave from the island of Réunion, who discovered the secrets of artificial fecundation. Since then, this method has been used on all Malagasy plantations. The pods have to be dried out before being conserved for several months in order to concentrate the fragrance. Then they are sorted and weighed, put into boxes and shipped. Docking in the Malagasy ports is a difficult operation because the boats don't always have a motor. Sailors swim to the dock to attach the cord. These boats, often led by violent winds and storms, have to deal with substantial natural deterioration. That's why, once safely docked, the sailors proceed with all kinds of repairs: replacement of sails, renovation of the hull. For these men, repairs can also be a way to stall delivery and therefore increase market demand. The sailors take advantage of low tide for hemp caulking and tarring. Both coastal schooners and boutres are slowly disappearing from the Mozambique Canal. But hope remains firmly anchored in the hearts of these local men who continue to fight for the preservation of this age-old tradition by adapting their boats to modern technology.